This TradWives is traditional wives versus feminists. You know, we gonna get into it. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, they ask a couple questions, couple prompt questions, and then if you agree with it, you step forward into the chairs, and then y'all talk about it. And then the other one disagrees. They come in and then they discuss and all of that. And this one should be good. You know what I mean? This is very important right here. Shout out to the TradWives out there, and the feminist. What's up, feminists? You get me? You know what to do with feminists. Just recreational use only. Let's see.
Her husband. A wife's primary duty is to serve her husband.
Yes. Agree. Come here.
I believe that
come
as
here.
just a person, as a woman in general, my first priority is to God and being obedient to Him. But being a wife, I believe being a submissive wife and loving your husband as we have been asked to by God, I believe that that's the foundational purpose of being a wife, and
Helpmate.
then in turn leading your children. When I first got married, I got married at 18. I feel like in my role as a wife, I have learned that in order for me to be a good mother.
I've seen a lot of YouTubers like pause their videos while you getting into the video. They pause it. I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear you talk, bro. I do that. Like, I don't like to pause it. I like to hear the whole thing. I like to, the people watching, they hear the whole thing. And then maybe after, when it's the conversation maybe got to a stopping point, then I'll interject usually. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like to pause too much. I won't do this for a while.
In order for me to be good in our marriage, I am putting Him first and I am serving Him, and that's my priority.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree.
What a queen.
I got married at 21 years old.
Perfect age to get married.
Was never really like the, independent woman. I grew up with a single mother, and when I first met my husband, we were 14 years old, and instantly I was like, this is the man that I want to marry.
At 14?
And it really made me dive into being a godly wife. So you kind of you touched on that a little bit, and I 100% agree that
Who's a godly
when you're
wife?
serving
Raise your hand.
your husband, you have to also serve God. And if you do not
He is your
have
God.
that kind of relationship
That's your God.
with your husband that you do with God, then it's going to kind of lead down the path of like, I'm me and I care about myself, and he's going to care about himself, instead of making those sacrifices for each other. So I definitely, for myself, I try to put him above all. Obviously, I do take care of myself. It's not like I'm just like, oh yeah, like she can just go down the drain. It's a give and take. So I
All right, talk to me, queen. Talk to me.
am there for my husband, and whatever he needs me to do is something that I look forward to doing for him, because whatever you give, you will receive. So I try to be the best wife that I can be to him, so that he can be the best husband that he can be to me. Yeah.
Two queens.
Gonna have the disagreement.
Real queens. Not like how y'all be talking about.
So does it go both ways? Is it just I should serve my husband, not my husband should serve me as well?
Your husband is supposed to love you as Christ loved the church, and that actually is a bigger task than wives submit to your
Look at
husband.
BBL.
So
Look at
in
BBL.
turn, I'm submitting to
Walking
him,
BBL.
but he is actually supposed to be obedient to God, which means he's supposed to love me as much. And if he loves me as much as Christ loves the church, then it's going to be a mutual relationship. We're going to have mutual conversations, mutual decisions be made. It's not that he's ruling over me, he's telling me what to do and taking charge of everything. It's that he loves me enough to care for me as he should, I think, as any husband should for his wife.
Yeah, 100%. I think that a big misconception with submitting to your husband is that it's, I submit to him and he has the final say and he does whatever he wants and I don't have a say. It's more of like, okay, I'm going to come to you with my opinions, and these are the ideas that I have, and at the end of the day, he will decide on the ideas, but I do have that say. I can go to him and I say, okay, well, I think that we should move to Thailand. And he's going to decide if that's a good idea for us or not. It's not like he comes in the house and he's like, yeah, we're moving. Let's go. Pack up
Why
your
does
stuff.
he get to decide?
That's what I was wondering.
Because leadership is a service, so the service he provides is his leadership. And if you've ever been in a leadership position, then you'll know that. It's actually an immense weight to carry,
Another
to
queen.
lead people and just carry that final responsibility. And as a servant leader, you have their best in mind
Stephanie.
when you are leading people.
Shout out
So
to all
that's
the
the service that he
Stephanies.
provides.
Is there
and
a
it's
line?
actually, well, I guess that's a great question. It depends on how you would define submission being a trad wife. So as a Christian, I would say there's definitely a line. My first priority is to God. And
It's crazy how all the religious women are traditional wives and usually are in a relationship, healthy relationship. And all the, I wouldn't say atheist women, but all the spiritual, all the crystals, all the tarot card readers, all the nature walking, all the I don't need no, all the ones that seem to be doing it on their own, all single, probably with child or two or three or four. And they all, all look miserable. All got the just rebellious feminists. Like, it's crazy. Like, we done got us so far away from religion. Not saying religion is the best thing, but I mean, it's better than just being out here, just do as I will on some Satan shit. Like, that's what's going on today. So I bet you if women got back to being more religious and believing in God and those traditions, then you would have a lot easier time, keeping a man. Not getting a man, keeping a man.
Do you guys believe that the man or the
Jasmine.
husband should be a leader just
Jasmine, if you know, see, look, I'm about to show that's the OnlyFans model right there. All her stuff is all over the internet. Just doing all type of abominations. You get what I'm saying? But that's what she is, and she calls herself a lawyer as well. Like, if you a lawyer, that's good money, right? Why you gotta go the easy route? Like, but that's what she is.
he is the male, or is it because he displays certain leadership qualities? Could it be the other way around if the woman was somebody who would fit better into the role of a leader?
Which woman?
It's built
who?
in. It's like baked in biology.
Exactly.
So hormonally,
What woman
men's-
is a good
I
leader?
don't agree with that.
How so?
Sure, you can say that there are biological differences between a
Right.
man and a woman, but that doesn't make I get so upset because why are
Aw.
men inherently born deserving
God
of
made
respect,
it that
but
way.
we have to earn all of
Hold
our
up.
respect, right?
You know what? I'm gonna let it go.
There's no biology that says
Because
you
of
deserve.
I'm
feminism.
gonna let
We
it
have
cook.
to earn it because of feminism, where we made ourselves compete with men rather than relaxing into our feminine maternal role,
Feminism
where we
isn't
don't have
competing
to
with
earn.
men.
Yes, it
What
is.
do you think feminism is? I'm just curious.
Well,
Look how she looked,
I
though.
would go by the definitions of the first wave feminist who sought to overthrow the family. And
That's what they sought to do.
I don't think
it,
that's
so
true.
who
Look at
would you say
today's.
were like the first wave?
Well, feminism,
what is a family
the
today?
typical definition is social, political, and economic equality between the sexes. I don't think anything in that definition is saying we should overthrow the family or that we don't believe in loving marriages or partnerships. But when you say these biological differences between men
You'll
and women
never
make
have a
men better
husband
suited to be
or
a leader,
family.
which ones? And
Okay.
where's like your basis for that? Like what skills?
Men are larger, they're stronger. Hormonally, men produce more vasopressin, which is the hormone that makes them better
Vasopressin.
protectors and providers. They're able to just respond better to threats, whereas women produce more oxytocin. We're smaller, we're more vulnerable, we're the fairer sex. The oxytocin is a trust and bonding hormone that we're supposed to use to take care of those weaker than us, like children, like the sick, the poor, the elderly.
What's standing out to me is that these biological differences that you're noting is actually something that feminism is seeking to actually support. Because true feminism at its core is about the safety and equity for women in society. So that women can it's not about dismantling the family, it's about creating
But it is,
agency
though.
for women to choose their lives, not based on whatever your personal beliefs are or the beliefs that are outlined by society, but whatever path that they have chosen for themselves. That's at the true core of feminism.
Yeah.
It's not about women being better or stronger or the same as men. It's about women being safe in this world, in a world where the patriarchy threatens women's safety and agency.
Can I
I'd say,
ask how are you threatened?
Good question.
How am I threatened?
Yeah.
So I'll tie it back to the biological differences that you noted. There's a reality that women face, both biologically, which we all can, all of us here can understand and empathize with, but also just within society, there's a pretty unequal steep, right?
And so for the role that men occupy, just in general in society, and the freedom that men are able to maneuver through society with, that to me is why feminism is so necessary, to open paths for women who might otherwise not be able to. Recently in Iran, I'll give you an example. Recently in Iran, there was a woman who was protesting because there was a strict dress code policy, and she walked through the streets in her protest within her underwear. It was a very brave,
You know the
courageous
rules
act.
over there.
That is
Why
of
is
true
that? Why is that
feminism.
so brave?
And
Like,
what
you know the
happened?
rules
She
there.
just disappeared.
The rules are the rules.
So
The
if
laws
you
are
look
the
at
laws.
the way that society treats women's bodies versus men's bodies,
Everybody
that
knows you go to
inherent
Iran, you know
difference,
how
it
you gotta
creates
be looking.
violence that
Like, come on.
threatens us at our core. And so by feeling as though we need to submit ourselves to men, to me that sounds like a defense mechanism.
Absolutely. Women are brilliant.
powerful.
And yeah, so women are excellent advisors and mothers and teachers and influencers, right? We know about that. Women are great influencers. They're the most powerful influencers. So I'm not in any way saying that women aren't capable. I'm just saying, should we go out and compete with men, or should we actually take our power and harness it and use it in other ways? And in fact,
that's
some
what
of
it's
the
about.
anti-suffragettes held this belief. They were concerned that if women achieved suffrage, that their influence would be diluted because they would be forced to go out and compete like head to head. And they would kind of just lose that status as being admired as wise counsel in society. So
So like these females that are like pediatric surgeons, like some of the top in the field, you don't think they're doing as much of a service as if they were just to stay home and nurture?
well, I think they're putting themselves at a disadvantage too, because look at the wage gap. There does exist a wage gap, even if you have a really skilled like female surgeon and a male surgeon, and it's because biologically, like, they can't push and push and push themselves in the same way that a man
See, yeah,
can.
that's facts. Like, there's no real. The wage gap is more men do more overtime than women do. That's why it seems like men get more money. Like, we do more work. We'll work harder, longer. Pause. You know what I mean? And y'all take a lot of maternity leaves, go on vacation, all that. Men don't really go on vacation like that. Like, unless we got a girl and she wanna move, she wanna move around. Like, men don't go on vacations, guys, trips, and all that. No, we gonna work. You know what I'm saying? We get a first job, second job, whatever, and we can actually get through it. I know women that got multiple jobs and they exhausted, like, look miserable, tired all the time, every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can just hustle and bustle like that. You get me?
And so, like, no, this is true.
I disagree completely. I've seen women,
course you do.
not only do women usually meet expectations, they exceed them.
Do you believe that then the wife should lead the family?
No, I
think that
I agree with her that it's a partnership, like
Yeah.
that a man should never
I don't get
be
why
thought
women so
of as the
scared
final
to
decision,
submit.
as that how he
Y'all
is
live
suddenly
in fear,
able
bro.
to lead and know everything and know all, and then
It's always
she's
that
just
one
here
guy
to
that hurt y'all.
I don't know serve.
That
Yes,
ruins the
right.
We
rest
believe
of your
people should
life.
be looked at as individuals and not based on their gender. So there could be areas of expertise that my partner is better equipped for, and there are areas of expertise I am better equipped for.
Right.
And to your earlier point, like, it's like women didn't have advantages for so long, and now we're seeing this shift where, like, boys need our help, because as soon as you let women into education, we started surpassing them, and our wages have gone
She
up
said
and up and up.
boys.
while
Let
there's-
women into education. Could you clarify that?
No, I'm saying as soon as we started pushing for, like, women to get into STEM, and we started doing this push to get women educated, we not only met the same standard that men were operating at, we exceeded it. And now women are outperforming men in almost all, like, exams.
I don't think people should do
gotta
anything.
fact check
I think
that.
people can do anything. I don't think there should be any societal expectation on any person, man or woman. I think that you can go and do whatever you want, and I can go and do whatever I want. And I don't think you should tell me what I should do, and I should tell you what you should do.
God made it that way to where a man leads and women follow and the children follow the woman. That is how God made it. And there's a reason for it. It's a reason for everything that goes on in this world, bro. There's a reason why there's hierarchies, there's certain levels on the pyramid, there's things that trickle down, bro. Like, that's just how, it works. It works best that way when we stick to what has worked for hundreds, thousands of years. Like, this new feminist wave and all of that, it's only been going on for maybe 100 years. Everything worked before that, all of a sudden. And and it wasn't just the women that created. Men created it as well. For whatever they had their purposes, maybe to, you know, push certain agendas, get the men out the house, you know, where the women have to depend on the government. And this has to do with men in general, but also black men. This had to do with the black family hugely, you know what I mean? But I feel like the traditional way has worked for hundreds, thousands of years. Like, why do we decide to change it, you know? And women now, with their power, they ain't doing nothing but getting butt naked. A lot of them just getting butt naked, bro. That is not power. Like, just because you feel powerful because you got your ass out, like, what kind of power like that? That's not power to me, you know? Some of them, yes, they're using their power to become doctors, lawyers, all this, da. Thing is that helping you create a family? And maybe your family not important to you, but that's the most important thing, though. You know, is that helping you create a family? Is that helping you create life? Does it help you keep a man? I would say no. Usually no. You know, and then once you make the same money as a man, men don't care about your money. We don't care about your money. If we got money, we don't care about your money. You know, so it's like, what can else you bring? You think that money is helping you, you know, keep me around, but it don't, because 9 times out of 10, y'all not spending y'all money on men.
Women are happier post-feminism.
Yes.
Really? Ain't no way y'all happier.
Okay, so I think the first thing is that I think a lot of people in general are less happy now, and that could be for a multitude of reasons. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's because of feminism that women are less happy, but just because A happened before B does not mean A caused B, right? We have less communities, social media, it's easier to compare. You know, everyone says comparison is the thief of joy. And if we look back at the more like trad times, women, there was something called like housewife syndrome that people would go to, and it was because, or people would be diagnosed with, which is that they were like basically developing levels of psychosis, and they would be doing a lot of drugs. People talk a lot now about how women are so medicated. Look back at all the benzos, the coke, everything they were doing in doses that they would never prescribe today just to make it through the day. So I do think that feminism has given us so much that now women have choice and they have freedom and autonomy, and just looking at overall trends of how happy people feel, I don't think gives an accurate picture on where women are and how they would have been.
Yeah, I think that women are happier and like in more positions of like empowerment within themselves right now. But I want to like tone in on the word happier. I don't think we are anywhere near where we can be or we should be right now. So that's why I was kind of like hesitant at first, because I'm like, well, we are happier. We are definitely happier than we used to be, but are we like, we are still in danger in this life in many different ways, and
nobody
that makes me
touch you in a dark alley.
as a woman.
Nobody would touch you in a dark alley.
I just don't see happiest coming anytime soon.
Happiness is a very difficult thing to measure. It's very difficult to measure. So it's like, and happiness is not necessarily the same thing as overall well-being.
Yo, let's just be real. Most women nowadays are on like some type of antidepressant or something. Some they coping with weed, they coping with different drugs, drinking. I don't know a woman that don't drink alcohol like more than I do. Like, women are drinking like men out here, bro. Like, that men have done for years, like women are doing that now. And it's all a coping mechanism. So now ain't nobody happy. Y'all not happy at your job, you're not happy in y'all real life. You get home, you lonely, you not satisfied. All the Instagram likes and all of that is not satisfying to you. It's not, but you could pretend because you got a little money, you got your own spot, you got your own going on, you go to the gym and all of that good stuff, but you're not happy, bro. You're not happy. I don't know what she's talking about right here. Like, this is delusional right here. This is, you know, women like to tell themselves things and like believe in it, but women are on more drugs and things now than they ever were.
being.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Trust.
there's so many moving
Trust me.
parts, so many factors that are involved. But I do think the fact that women now are not forced into a
Right.
box and put in situations like financial dependence is a big risk factor for like all forms of abuse.
Yeah.
And so a lot of women now having the autonomy, the ability to have their own money, to be able to take care of themselves, I think puts women
getting
better off
butt-ass.
overall, being able to pursue their dreams and passions. It's really hard though to look at a society, economics, all of that, and be like, oh, are people happier now or back then? You know, it's hard.
Women,
Facts.
in my opinion. I think the physical and mental effects that abortion has on a woman's physical body.
Don't you think having kids also takes a toll on the body? Like
I was
having
gonna
a
say,
Bro.
I feel
Women been giving birth for thousands of years. Like, think of a woman you know that's happy, that just gave birth. You think she's thinking about that pain anymore? As soon as the baby come out, she can't wait to hold that baby. Like, no, y'all don't care about that pain. Y'all go through it because you know the benefits of it. You know the love you finna feel from giving birth like that. Like, so this, childless women like this, bro, don't understand. All just worry about the pain and stuff. Y'all live in so much trauma. These women live in so much trauma, bro. It's really unbearable to be around. I ain't gonna lie to you.
feel like not having access to that
Like,
medical
everybody
care
just
that I
ignored
need
that too, like, girl,
makes
shut up.
me feel less safe than having it. So I feel like currently right now, like I wanted to have a baby within the next few years. I don't feel safe right now having that because I don't have
living in
access
fear.
to certain medical procedures that I think I deserve.
Or you don't have
and I
access
need.
to a
What
good
do you
man,
need,
a
Ren,
husband.
if you're,
What are you
if
talking
you're ready
about?
to have a baby?
Women
That
around the
you're
world,
not.
Get a man.
women around the
Can't
United
have
States
one.
are currently dying in hospitals right now because they can't have access to medical needs because doctors are too afraid to perform them.
Yeah,
due to
and I
legislation.
think
That's
your
actually
point,
all y'all
not
do
true.
is watch
No,
the
I
news,
think your
bro.
point about
The news got y'all living
contraception
in
and
fear.
abortion is ignoring like several dimensions. That contraception is not just for birth control. Contraception can also be used for balancing hormones. So, for example, I
That's what we've been
suffered
I wouldn't even
told.
touch you with a 10-foot
I suffered from
pole,
ovarian
bro.
cyst. That if I'm not on birth control, they will grow and
Siete.
get out of control, cause me immense pain. Not only that, there are also medical procedures. There's
That's your
medical abortion
punishment,
that is
honestly.
necessary in order to preserve the life of the mother who is existing in the world right now and housing the child.
When is it medically necessary to abort the
When
child?
my life
at
is in
late
danger.
term? What is
Why
happening?
your life always
There
in
are
danger?
plenty of women that go through
How many women
sepsis.
died of
Placenta
childbirth
previa-
before we
there's
had
so
this
many there's so
medical
many
care?
medical
Without a
emergencies.
C-section, an emergency C-section, or an abortion is the only answer?
Do you not
I-
believe
I-
Y'all
that
having
the
abortions
maternal
2-3
mortality
months
rate
in, like,
exists?
what are you talking
Like,
about?
do you
That's what I
just
was
think
gonna
that?
say.
Yeah. Is it just
Like as black women, we die 3 times the rate of
Oh, here
any
we
other
go.
group of women
Race
in
bait.
childbirth as a result of birthing children. That's a systemic issue, but also for you to say that, there's never any medically necessary reason for abortion, that's just blatantly
That's wrong.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
There's
That's
literally
not-
statistics.
I'm happy to get you guys information.
But do you not think that it exists? Do you think it's just?
I think women, can die of childbirth for sure. I
and do you
totally
not
agree
think
with
that an abortion would save that mother's life?
Y'all not
I do
getting
not.
Y'all not getting abortion because you will die if you gave birth. Like, that's not why y'all getting abortions. You getting abortions because you slept with the wrong person. He ain't finna do nothing for you, and that is that simple. It is really that simple. Y'all not getting abortions because me and my husband, he's worried I'm gonna die. I'm worried I'm gonna die if I give birth. I'm worried. Y'all not having abortions because of that, bro. Like, let's cut it out.
I agree with that.
Okay, so if
So you
a
think
baby
there's no
dies,
cases? The same question you asked me. You think there's no cases of a woman in late-term pregnancy who actually
Y'all not getting
needs
abortions
an abortion
late-term.
in order to? That's just never happened.
I don't think she wants the mom to survive. She doesn't care if the mom.
here we
Can I
go.
ask
I
you
do care if the
something?
mom survives.
No,
I
just
the
asked
fact
you.
that we can deliver a baby via an emergency C-section. My friend had her baby in 3 minutes. They can deliver
I
a
understand.
child.
My mom had a C-section with all 3 of her
when
kids.
is the
We
mother's
get
health
that.
ever at risk? That 3 minutes they can't take out a baby, but instead they have to dismember it.
That's not
Do
what
you know
happens.
how? Do you know
Most
how
women-
late-term
most
abortions
women-
happen?
Yeah, okay. Most women at 40
Do you
weeks
know
actually
partial
deliver their
birth
dead
abortion
babies.
is
Like,
how you have to deliver?
Can I
That's
ask
another
you,
thing,
do you know
yeah,
what
at
a
40
D-
weeks,
do you
most
know what
women
a
have to deliver even
DNC
after
is, like a
the-
dilation curve? Because if a baby dies in utero, say at 39 weeks, Do you know how they're going to get it out?
Yeah, a
Deliver
DNC.
it.
That is not an abortion.
There are.
The
Do you
child
know?
is
Do you know that in the
miscarried.
states? Do you know that in the states
it is
that
not
have
forcibly
the more
ending
strict,
that
robust
heartbeat.
that doctors are afraid to even perform DNCs because they feel that they're going to.
That is a total mainstream
Right.
misinformation.
Right.
Okay.
Look at y'all face though. Y'all know it. I just watch too much news.
to step forward.
Head down.
I got a little heated.
I want to touch back on the prompt of women
Right.
being happier. I think that statistically women are more stressed now than they were prior to feminism. And statistics show
That's what I'm
that
saying.
the higher a woman experiences stress, the more likely she is to be anxious and depressed. So I'm coming from this from like a basic standpoint of the facts are women are more stressed than they were prior because they're still expected to be a mom, be a wife, cook, clean, and take care of the house. And on top of that, it's great that women could go and be lawyers and be doctors, like that is amazing, but it's not to deny the fact that there are still women
not
who are
beneficial
expected
to
to
you
have a societal standard
mentally.
of being a wife and mom and also go to work.
So why is that?
We're trying to break that.
We don't want the
Yeah, why-
expectation.
why is
But that's
that?
what
So
you
you
guys
Why
think
is
that
that?
it should only be one or the other. Like, would you agree that it's unfair to put it on a woman to be a full-time home manager? And you said you like to manage your home. I would agree. It's a management position for sure. We're great at that. So, would it be fair to put both of those things on
like
her? A
Stephanie.
full-time home manager and a full-time career woman?
Well,
Are
I
we
think
trying
that
to break
that's a
that?
result of society and a result of the patriarchy and a result of the times that we're occupying right now.
But then you want the man to do it.
No, there's so many men that are so wonderful at both managing, just like women, at both managing a job and coming home and managing the home with us. If it is a 50, if it is a true 50-50 relationship, we are both putting that effort in. We are both working because it is a job for both of us, not just.
I ain't gonna hold you. Like, if any of these feminists met the man of their dreams, let's just say it's a celebrity, let's just say it's Chris Brown. All these women, Chris Brown is their favorite guy ever, right? Y'all would instantly become traditional wives instantly because you respect this man, you love this man, you know what he can provide, you know what he can do for you. So you're gonna step into that role, cook, clean, and take care of his needs. You would definitely do that. He walk in the house, you're gonna take his shoes off, you're gonna massage his feet. That's because you got respect for this man. Respect goes a lot longer way than love for a man. And when you show that respect, you're gonna get the things you want. So all this feminine is because you ain't met the man of your dreams. You ain't met the man that you really want. You open up to a man that just made up for the times, you know, but that's not the man that you really respect. So this is what a feminist is. You ain't met the man that you really would put all pride aside. See, pride is that's the leading emotion of a woman, like they pride, because the opposite of pride is shame. So you stay in your prideful ways and you don't let nobody deter you from it, because the opposite of pride is shame. You got to feel that shame. So you're always in denial. Don't take accountability, because when a man check you, you got to feel like that guilt, that shame, like, yeah, I'm really a piece of shit, really. You got to feel that. You know what I'm saying? And no woman want to feel that. So yeah, you push it away. You start blaming him. No, well, I do that because you did it. Like, yeah, that's what's going on.
In most circumstances, a married woman must not seek a divorce.
Was it? In most circumstances.
Of course, y'all gonna sit back. These women so hurt, bro. So hurt. Traumatized,
Yeah, I mean, I think
bro.
that in most circumstances, of course, excusing the abusive relationships, most women
That's
should
not
not
most
get a
circumstances,
divorce.
though.
I think that society now has made it too easy for women to walk away from a committed relationship. I think that if you are having a hard time in your relationship, you should seek to fix it and not just leave it behind when you've spent years or decades or however long you've been together, to just say, okay, now on to the next. I think that you should, as a Christian woman, you know, I don't believe in divorce. I think that no matter how difficult your relationship gets, you should always fight for that person, because at the end of the day, you chose to marry that person
If it ain't
because
abusive,
you love them
that's what you
with
should
all
do.
your heart, and you can't just like leave that person behind
Unless you're getting
and say,
beat up,
okay, bye, because I
try
think
to
that
fix
means
it,
that
try
you
to
never
work it
truly
out.
love that person.
I grew up in a Christian household, but every single one of my
Tell me about
aunts
your
and
traumas.
uncles got divorced. So I think prescribing Christianity as the savior to marriages is just a silly belief. And then I know, we all know that in this society, everything has been really disposable, and I don't think anyone would be advocating for that. But I think it's just disingenuous to believe
I'm
that
gonna get at reading body
there
language.
aren't
Like
women.
the
A
women,
lot.
the
I feel like
feminists,
the
they
majority
body
of women
language is so
really,
like
really trying to
negative,
make marriages work.
and like they give off
Yeah.
bad energy.
Why are we blaming women?
And
for
nobody
it?
You get what I'm saying?
wants to
They give you
know.
bad
I don't
energy.
think we are.
So I don't think we just buy divorces off the shelves at Walmart. I think a divorce is one of the worst things
Just look
that
at
any
their body
married
language.
person
That's what
could
I
ever
read. I
go
read
through. And
people.
It's
nobody
shameful
Look at
still
our
in
body
this
language.
society.
100%.
I'm a mentalist.
And also
Expensive.
too,
I'm really a
but even having
psychiatrist.
the option to divorce is
Whatever that
something that is the result of the work of feminists. You realize that, right? So for the woman who's being
No fault
bat-
divorce. Let's correct that.
Sure, okay,
Right.
whatever. So for the woman
Oh.
who's
That's a
being
big
battered by her husband, sorry, for the woman who's being battered by her husband,
That would be a fault divorce.
100 years ago,
Okay.
she has no fail-safe for her life, for her safety, and for her agency. So now, at the very least, women are able to initiate a divorce if they
Yeah, she
see
like to
their
argue,
partner
bro.
as someone who they
I can't be
no longer want to be with for any reason. And I think that, again, for me, it's all about whatever the woman's choice or the person's choice is, that's between them and themselves and their partner. And I don't think that divorce should be prescribed or deduced to something that's just done left and right because women now have the ability to. We do know that statistically women are the ones who initiate majority of divorces, and that's, in my opinion, that's just simply because men will just stay in a toxic or an
'Cause
unfit
it's a duty,
situation
especially if you got
rather than
kids.
actually remedying it, and
It's your
women will
duty.
actually take charge and leave
Put our
if they
feelings
need
aside.
to,
Y'all
or if
would
they
never put
feel
y'all feelings
that
aside.
that's the option to. So
Yeah, also, a lot of times they need to do that because the men left them high and dry and they have no income and they need to get those court proceedings going so
Yep,
that they
in
can
order
take
for them
care
to
of
be
their
able
So we
to-
need to bring shame back to men who do that, and that's what we had 100 years ago. A man who up and ran off from his wife. This was scandalous. The church, the community, the extended family just wrapped her up and took those children in because we used to believe in duty.
No, they
to
didn't.
those around
Duty.
us.
I was just telling you that.
Exactly.
No, they didn't. These women then had to try to pick up. They had to try to like figure out what skills they could have because they had 4 children. And yes, you could go to the church, but those resources were finite. And you
And then
had
that
4 children.
shame-
They had literally a gallery of missing husbands because
Yep.
there would be so many men who would pick up, go to work, and never come back.
And that shame
Right?
was not just at the expense of the man; it was at the woman who was left too.
Outside of cases of like abuse, but like even cases like infidelity, all that, you guys think you should still stick it out with your
Depends on the context. What kind of infidelity we're talking about here? Like something severely deranged that you can't be around this person or have your children around them, then no, for your safety, you need to seek a civil divorce. But if it's something that you think could be worked through, then you need to work with, you know,
So if he sleeps with
It's funny that she says that as a OnlyFans model. Like, you get ran through. So you got bodies on bodies. So now when your man cheat, you not okay with that? Like, bro.
with another woman, but there's no threat to your. You think you should. You think you should. You ought to try to work that out.
so in the Catholic context, you should. You should. There might be a warrant for like separation, maybe even indefinite. Like to what extent? To what extent was this going on, right?
If your husband's cheating on you and he comes back and he's like, I messed up, I'm sorry, then I think that there's means to work it out. If he's not sorry,
What a
if he's like,
queen.
oh yeah, I cheated on you, but he's going to continue to do it, no.
But what about
yeah,
for the woman
and I
who
think it's-
draws the line at just one single time? If you,
Boring.
if I have a
Church's
line,
stance is
Boring.
infidelity. So if it's
We're
one
not all
time,
going under the church's
So
stance.
under,
for
under,
us,
like
you asked
the-
our question,
before
so-
no fault divorce, you would have been
yeah,
acquitted for
you would be able to.
But no,
get
you need
divorced.
to prove it though, and that can be very, very, very difficult. So that's the problem.
But
is you-
can it, or you just need one witness for
Right.
No,
to be
no,
Catholic
it was
to
very
prove.
difficult sometimes to get that proof. Or what if?
Okay,
well,
what
let's
are
just
we
say,
talking
What
about?
if he's just an asshole? What if he's a asshole? Then
Right.
what?
What if he just crosses
What
any
if
barrier
I draw
or
my line at
boundary?
respect?
Yeah.
Just general define respect.
Hurt.
Oh, okay.
He's rude. He's cold. He's not a good partner.
just wanna
and
say
you're
that if
unhappy.
that-
What if you were just
So it's about
miserable?
happiness. So
No,
it's-
because he's an asshole.
But I thought
You're
earlier
unhappy
in the
because
last
he's a-
prompt we said happiness is fickle, right?
I
Yeah,
think
but
it's
I'm
about
saying
personal
he's
boundaries.
making you. You have a direct
think it's about
cause.
personal
Yeah,
boundaries.
you
For
should
your
agree on
happiness.
those before you get married. Those personal boundaries, like if
Right.
XYZ happens,
A
This
lot
is
of
what we're
people
done.
agree to things, and then later they'll agree. Oh, we're going to work it out. Blah,
called
blah,
going
blah.
back on your word, and this is a legal contract. And when you go back on your word, there are
So
consequences.
if he
There should be
promised you not to be an
consequences.
asshole, but then he's an asshole, can you divorce him?
Well, what about when you are?
Yeah,
I think you should divorce you.
divorce me. You should definitely.
And you think that's okay? That it should just break apart just like
If I'm
humans?
if I'm a bad partner,
Even
that's
if I'm a
called
great partner,
conditional
if
love.
he's not happy, I don't want him with me.
So then
I-
better for worse means nothing.
Well,
Your
I'm
vows
not
mean
saying that
nothing.
at my wedding.
Are you married?
No, I don't. But this is the thing. But that guy that
You will
I'm
never
actually,
get
I'm an
married.
OnlyFans star, so I know you were
We
talking
know,
about
yeah,
porn.
yeah.
And like the guy who literally, my partner who films all my content, he was married
Listen.
to a TradWife, like the sweetest woman, literally keeps the Sabbath, and he's like, I'm not happy. I'm not happy with someone who's just submissive. I want to be with someone who's more my equal. So now, he ran off with me, and he's filming my OnlyFans content, and and he does financially support her. But if I were to say, hey, I'll be with you, but I kind of don't want you to financially support her anymore, she would not have that anymore. And I wouldn't do that. But
So then
imagine being
you're
a
the
woman.
oppressor. You
no,
just
no,
oppress
no.
that
But
woman
I'm
and the
not.
children.
First of all,
She
I
said
said,
she's not.
but
You are.
how horrible of a position are you putting yourself in life where now your ability to financially support
responsibility of
yourself
life.
is not only dependent on a man, but it's also dependent on
Can
the
that
woman
poor
who's-
woman that you pretty much took her husband?
no,
Okay.
no, no, He left her on his own because he was unhappy. And then 10 years later, he met me.
Okay. So do you not think she can get back up on her feet? And
It's very, very difficult because she has given her entire life into raising their son.
I've given my life into raising my kids.
I agree
If
with
my
you. I
husband
think she should get
dies,
up and work. to be
I'm gonna go.
honest with you.
I'm gonna go work. I feel like you guys, and I guess I don't know. You can tell me. It feels like what you're saying is someone who's financially dependent on their husband. If he leaves, if he dies, they're just screwed. They're done.
Homeless.
It is
That's
On the
what you're
streets.
portraying.
But the whole
think you're misinterpreting
yes.
again.
Yeah.
You need to have something to fall back on. So be educated. Also, maternal education
Living in
is one of
fear.
the biggest predictors of childhood success. Be educated. Have skills.
But how do you know that they're not?
My goal for coming here was to tell young women that are like young that instead of growing up saying I want to just be a homemaker, I develop other skills. Have an education to fall back on. Have a plan because nobody gets up on the altar and vows to be together forever and expects to be divorced.
I would agree with you.
So-
I have a degree.
Right,
I,
that's
for
awesome.
many years, was actually the breadwinner in our relationship. I made way more money. He worked for a nonprofit. Like, it was, so I think I would agree with you in the sense that young women, you are powerful. You can make an amazing decision. I could
Teach
have
'em.
continued on, got my doctorate, become a family and child psychologist, sat with children who are dealing with this mental health crisis right now. Instead, I'm choosing to be at home.
Yeah, that's great.
It is- it is a
great.
choice.
But I
It's
hope
super
that you're
empowering.
ready so that if something happens, you are
Look at
able
the
to
fear.
take care of yourself and your child without him.
She
My
ain't leaving her
impression
man, her
of what
man
you
ain't leaving
guys
her. What's the
are
problem
here,
with
it's
that?
not to force anything upon anyone. My impression is that your viewpoints are myopic, and that it is more
I don't know
you're
what that
viewing. It's like you have this very singular, one-dimensional view of, well, this is how I live my life, so other women should live that life.
There is no shame in having a high body
Oh,
count.
let's get in. Yeah. Take your little ass up there. Yeah, we knew that.
He has a high body count versus like I have sex with my boyfriend every day. I just don't feel the difference there. Like, so what if it's different men? So like, as long as you're being safe, as long as you're being like anybody
You're not being
should be
safe.
able to just
Trust.
have sex with someone if consensual sex.
Yeah.
So I think interestingly, I think this is what's moral
got
and
to
what's
say?
healthy may be different for different people. So there's something called sociosexuality, which is just like there's like a test you can literally take about how likely you are to engage in casual relationships depending on your attitudes, your preferences, etc. And while it's true that men tend to score higher in it, some women do score high in it. And for those women, it is a very healthy, wonderful thing to do. But I also think that we've been shamed so much and been called so many derogatory terms that I think some women feel like, okay, I need to fight back from this and I need to go and, engage in hookup culture. And that may not be right for a lot of women. And it's not right for me. So I don't personally engage in it. And I do think that, again, what's
We believe
healthy
you.
may not be the same thing as what's moral. And I think those two things get convoluted a lot in this topic.
Get on their
I
ass.
think that I can acknowledge that not everybody is going to be Christian and hold the same values that I, as a Christian woman, do. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18, I believe it is, being
Talk to
sexually
him.
immoral and promiscuity is frowned upon and it is a sin. So I think that anybody, man or woman, should feel shame for being promiscuous. It's not something that any Christian should accept. Like I said, I acknowledge that not everyone is Christian, so if you have a different belief on that, that's going to be an agree to disagree. I'm not going to try to fight someone who is like a free spirit and they're going to go do whatever they want. I acknowledge that some women and men are going to continue to do that, but I think that promiscuity leads to women being unhappy in more relationships. So there's studies that show the more men women have sex with, the less likely they'll be happy in the next relationship. And I think that we need to get back to finding a partner and being happy and, repairing the nuclear family in society. I think that's what's going to help society move forward.
Yeah, but what if we just didn't shame people for how they live their lives?
I think shame is very important and we should shame people.
I think we should shame people for things like that are actually bad, like murder and sexual assault. But
100 years ago, this fornication was considered very bad.
Right,
So
and then we progressed.
Again,
and we
we
realized
progressed.
that
you call that progress to sleep
It's
around.
2025.
I wouldn't say sleep, using terms like sleep around, sexual promiscuity.
What would you, I guess, what would you call
high
it?
body count,
Yeah.
you're sleeping with lots of people.
Sure. Yeah.
So
No, it is
What
freedom
is
to
that
not be
outside of-
shamed or have a scarlet letter or like be able to do OnlyFans like what I do. I think
But
that
it's
is
shameful.
progress.
You want to let society know, hey, this person does this. And so if you connect your life and bond with this person, there's a huge risk that they're going to do this to you.
So people who don't share your worldview, though, like you said, there are people like me. I don't believe I'm an atheist. So should you shame me based on your worldview?
Atheist.
I think you should shame yourself.
No.
I don't think that it's on anybody to shame another person. Like, I'm not going to go around shaming anybody because they have a high body count. I think that we need to instill shame back into ourselves and realize where we go wrong. And if you, like I said, if you don't feel shame, like that's completely on you and that's up to you. But if, like how I would see myself as someone who doesn't have a high body count, I
queen.
have one, it's my husband, then
What a
like
queen.
I don't have shame on myself for that reason. But like that's me coming from a Christian point
And
of view.
more power to you, going back to the myopic thing that we were talking about earlier. So more power to you if that's how you find your empowerment, that's fine. But for the woman who doesn't necessarily occupy
Tell
your
y'all
world
body
and your
count then.
space, then do you
Say
not
it right
think
now.
that
All y'all
she
say
should be
your body
free to
count.
do whatever she
I think she can. I
live
said
her
it
life
already.
as she
Like
should,
I think you can completely feel however you want to feel about yourself. I don't think that that's on somebody else to shame. Like that's not a Christian.
because it's not
Christian
biblical.
should shame.
I think for
One-on-one,
me,
it's
mine is-
one-on-one. It's not biblical, but societal it is. We need to enforce shame like pedophilia, right? That has got to be shamed. Can we all agree? Right?
Yeah.
So there
Like
needs
I
to
said,
be
bad things.
a line for societal shame.
What does shame do to us? Shame says I did
Told y'all
something
about
bad.
shame.
Why?
Yeah,
Why?
I'm telling you, bro.
Because it can course correct,
I be
because it
knowing.
can change the way that we're living. I think regardless of religious beliefs or whatever that is, shame is an emotion everyone feels.
Right.
Throughout the day, all different kinds. Shame because I cut someone off, whatever. I did something that was wrong that I don't want to do again. Why? Because shame's uncomfortable.
Right.
We don't want to feel shame. We don't want to put shame on people. But I actually
See what I'm
think
saying?
shame is a great emotion. Shame keeps us safe and keeps you from making the same mistakes again and again.
Great. Society can agree that's a bad thing. You
For
say-
now, what about abortion? And what about people in
I
the
don't-
LGBTQ community talking about minor attracted persons? We're moving the Overton window, and it started by destigmatizing fornication.
I think
So you
there's
think 100 years ago things were better?
I do. These issues existed on the
when there
fringe,
was
and when they
slavery?
happened,
Well, actually, that was too
Slavery was not
but-
yeah,
100
we can
years
all
ago,
condemn
bro.
that.
But, like,
Shut
it's a
up.
separate issue that we should
Yeah,
condemn.
but it wasn't
But you're
that way.
bringing in
Making it
separate
okay.
Yeah, I meant with this, but I think the disagreement here is you guys think we all agree with something that's wrong or something you believe is wrong, depending on your moral philosophy, you should be shamed. But I think the discrepancy is we don't agree this is wrong, and if all you're going to throw at us is Christianity,
So
but
if
there's
men
an
can
objective
have, if
truth.
men can have a high body count, so should women. I'm
No,
like, again,
I
we're
think that
trying
should
to
lower
make
ourselves.
ourselves.
I think
like
both
men.
Sex isn't wrong.
Mhm.
Sex is
Exactly.
not
So
wrong.
you guys have
We
to
don't think so
convince
either.
us that
We
it's
think it's the
It's
most
beautiful.
powerful thing
It's
in the world. That's why
amazing.
you have to have standards because of the power. Like I would imagine you ladies don't like Donald Trump, so he was made by two people having sex. That's pretty powerful that one person
Sure, yeah.
is in the
sex
world
rocks.
because two people had sex, right?
Yeah, 100%.
This thing is like a nuclear reactor. Sex. It can create one person that can do things,
Yeah.
big things, and it has to
like
be taken
that.
seriously on a
agree.
societal
I
level.
think
serious. Yeah.
there's an objective truth. And I think there's one objective truth, and whether you believe it or not, it's God's truth. Whether you're aligned with it or not. That's up to you.
But that's your subjective belief,
no,
that thought.
there's one objective truth, and
Wicked,
from
bro.
that
It's a
truth,
wicked
disorder
spirit
comes.
up there,
So we
boy.
go off, we have sex with multiple people, disorder follows. When we are disobedient to God's design, to the objective truth, disorder follows. We have people getting pregnant that they don't want to be. Now we have families breaking up. We have
Abortions.
52% of relationship divorces saying that porn was an issue. Sex creates all this disorder and dysfunction in our society, and the problem is that we look at it and we say, oh, it's fine. We should tolerate that. We should be okay with that. And that's not okay. We're going against the natural law, the natural order. There is peace when we have two people come together in marriage and are united together as one flesh. We have peace with that because it's with God's design.
I don't feel any shame for doing OnlyFans. So what are you going to use? So convince
That's because
me.
your conscience is
Talk
hardened,
to
and
it.
that is the voice inside of us that when we go past it, we keep going past it. It's like taking a hot iron to the
Definitely
conscience,
talking.
and you can no longer feel. This is why people who view porn, they seek out more intense types of porn.
That's facts.
Over the years, to where
That's
the
facts.
basic vanilla stuff isn't doing it anymore. They have to seek out violent porn. You can go look it up. I mean, there are statistics.
I think
self-report.
that women seek out violent porn more than men.
Right. I would say it's affecting women too.
No. I think that there are women who are just into different things, BDSM, etc.
But
Do you
why?
think something
It's
happens?
because-
Do you think
No,
something's
it's
wrong
because
with
the
that?
very
Yes,
nature
I
of
do.
pornography
Yes,
itself,
something happened to them.
the very nature of pornography itself is built and rooted within the patriarchy, which is a violent system. So the reason for that is that pornography itself, the reason why it's so uncomfortable, the reason why it disrupts marriages.
Consensual sex work is very different from trafficking.
You don't think
child
that those people are
exploitation.
being trafficked?
No, I think
there are
for
a lot of
OnlyFans, for
them-
instance, I have to put in my government ID. I have to pay taxes.
Right, and so
There's
what
no
we want you to
children
do
in
is
there.
we want you to take this off of Main Street and into the back alley where it should be, so that our children and our spouses and the general public doesn't have to see it, because
guess
it's shameful.
what?
Yeah. But with their world, we're saying you should feel shame, and I go, okay, why? Because I don't, and they go, oh, it's because your heart is hardened, or because you're
No,
not
I think
falling
that's
into
a crazy thing to
Christianity.
say. That's a crazy thing to
Because
say.
you're not believing. I just don't. I don't find Christianity convincing. So is there any
Well, you
other
don't have to be a
reason?
Christian. You can be, a virtuous person of any conviction to believe in these things because they're revealed by nature.
Have you ever felt any shame doing
For
what
doing
you did?
OnlyFans? No.
Or
Why should she?
before OnlyFans?
Yeah.
What do you mean, any
there was-
shame? Yeah, I feel shame when I mistreat somebody. I feel shame if I'm dishonest in a situation. I feel shame if I'm being a bad friend.
And what does
I
that
don't
shame
feel
move
shame.
you to do?
Be a better friend. But I
Okay.
don't feel shame by taking my body and doing something with my body that I want, that I feel great and
That's
empowered
because
doing.
you value money more than your morals.
No, it's just that my morals are not the same as your morals. Right, but I would never ever violate my morals to do anything. I just don't share your morals.
Right.
That's the
And
difference.
that's fine.
This
Okay.
is what your body was. You're not honoring what your body was made for. I came to these conclusions before I was a Christian, just because I studied, mother-baby health and everything. Like what the body is made for. Your body, God gave women a beautiful body. Like we have beautiful bodies to generate life, to do something men could never ever do, and that is why we're called to veil our bodies with a dignity that is higher than men, because we have life-bearing
So
vessels
you
that
think
men don't
my
have.
body is just to
definitely
produce
be
children? That's what it is.
Not only, but that's the primary.
Listen, even evolutionary speaking, evolution doesn't care if you're happy
What
or
about women who
fulfilled or
biologically
empowered.
can't
It's
produce
yeah.
children? What about them?
Yeah, what about women who can't do it?
Exception does not make
not
the
their
rule.
fault.
No. You're still built with maternal instincts and maternal. This is why
don't
women
think that's true.
seek
I don't think
caring
that's true either.
professions.
She inherently does not have the same amount of value or equal.
No.
What about trans women who biologically
Well, they're
can't?
not women; they're men.
Oh.
With a penis.
And to go back to the previous point,
Hurt.
I was so scared to ask him. I knew it.
to go back to the previous point you made, you said that our
Wait, I
beliefs
wanna hear
shouldn't
that
be
again.
Scared to ask.
With a penis.
Same amount of value or equal.
No.
What about trans women who biologically
Well, they're
can't?
not women; they're men.
Oh.
With a penis.
And to go back to the previous point,
I was so scared to ask
They
him.
never have a
to go
comeback.
back
They
to the
just want to
previous
feel
point
hurt.
you made, you said
and make you
that our
feel
beliefs
guilty for
shouldn't
saying
be
what
baked
you
into
say.
society, but you're essentially saying your beliefs should then be baked into society.
No, living in a theological society.
We should.
We are not.
We're
though.
not.
I am more
crazy,
liberated
bro.
than the other side.
A lot of theological roots within womanism as well. So like when you guys are talking about Jesus or God, like I don't know who you guys are talking about. Your Jesus is not who I see.
Totally.
Wicked.
It's so when you guys are saying like this is gonna solve this is gonna
What
solve
do y'all
this.
believe in these days, bro?
It's just not. So what we're saying is that there's so many different ways to solve
These bitches
societal
need a
problems
daddy.
that do
What Wayne
affect
said?
women.
These bitches
And
need
that we
a
need to be
daddy.
open to more things.
These bitches need
And
a
I don't
head.
feel like you guys are the ones that are open to more helpful solutions.
Wayne said the realest thing, bro.
All of us can agree that women are very
never
capable
forget
of
that.
going into the workforce, and we're not saying that right after high school or before high school you have to go and get married and have babies and be a homemaker.
Right.
Most, the average in the United States, women get married at the age of 29. So you have, from high school, you've got 10 years
Right.
to graduate high school, go to university, get your master's, get a good career, find a husband, and decide, okay, now, and like
That's where it stops.
That's where it stops.
Yeah, stop there because then you start.
stop there.
No, I'm saying you stop. Like if you're saying you're open to other to finding more ways of solutions, and then you say you can do all this, but then you have to subscribe to the nuclear family.
I didn't say that you have
I don't
to.
do.
Find
I
a
don't
husband.
believe in forced marriage.
No.
Do you know any TradWives who would
No.
Whoa,
believe in forced marriage?
whoa. That's did I say that?
I think it's like what you guys find fulfillment in, and then when you guys say, oh, well, women are more unhappy now, and then you'll say, it's because you guys aren't finding fulfillment in marriage and homemaking and all this stuff. Like, it's where your conclusions lie. That's the problem.
I think that women are extremely happy being homemakers, and I think that there are many women that are extremely happy being in the workforce, and that's totally fine if they want to be in the workforce.
But I feel like you see that as the solution.
No, I think that some women are genuinely not meant to be wives and not meant to be mothers. Like
Yeah, and that's the work of feminism again. So
yeah, first
Right.
wave. I totally agree with first wave.
I guess even before first wave, forced marriage. What was that? Are we talking about like when was that happening? When was that a huge institution? Was the United States government?
I think pretty much for all of history up until pretty recently.
Actually, for 2,000 years, the West has been built on the Catholic Church, and from day one, it has been a mortal sin to force a marriage.
And I think that child marriage is still legal in what, like 20 something.
So we have work to do. We need missionary work to take the church there and tell them you can't do this. You can't do. You cannot make somebody get married without.
But the
consent.
church is not the be all end all. That is exactly what turns people away from the church. Like the what you are putting on us right now is exactly why people don't want to
Rebellious
come and be in
spirit.
your spaces.
So if I didn't say any of this, you would want
That a
to.
rebellious spirit.
I wanted to before people said that to me back when I was in the church. Like I loved being at church.
These feminist women just seem so unhappy, bro. So miserable, stressed out, exhausted because you're alone in this world, single, don't have help, don't have family, don't even have family like that you can go to. And with that, you don't even have a man that you can go to for advice, for guidance, for counsel. You don't even have groups of women that can give you good counsel. Most of it is your homegirl that's in the same position as you. And another one, and it's like 5 of y'all, and we know that's true because every time we go to a restaurant, we see about 4 or 5 of them at each booth, just women. It's like 90% women at restaurants, especially in Atlanta. You go to Atlanta restaurant, that's all you see. You get what I'm saying? So it's the blind leading the blind, and I just think that they all miserable. Which on the other side, these traditional women, they seem pleased with life. They got a man, they acting right. The man acting right because they acting right, because they kept the same roles that we've had for hundreds, thousands of years. Like, that's worked. You understand that? Like, why change something that has worked for years? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I see it every day, bro. Like, I talk to a lot of women, bro. I talk to a lot of women. Different. I like just talking to people. Obviously I created a podcast to talk to people to, you know what I mean? And I hear these stories, women hate, they just, like, I hear a lot, I hate men, I hate all men, I hate men with all my heart, whatever. Like, imagine me saying that to a woman, like, how that sound. See, they was talking about high body counts and all of that. And now they saying, oh, it doesn't affect you. You should be able to do what men do. Y'all don't handle these things, these sexual things, the way men do. Y'all don't handle it the same way. I can be in love. I could be in love with my girl and all of that. Then I go on vacation, smash something, come back, love, I'm alright, all that. Y'all can't move like that. Like, you can't. It's been known from the beginning of times that men can have multiple wives and everything be cool. Like, and y'all was also cool with it. Preferred it probably. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like you want a man to be so monogamous to just you. Like, and that's cool. We can do that too. We can do that. If you being the wife we need, we can do that. You know, but y'all can't handle the same way. You know, y'all can't handle the sexual just pump and dumping. Y'all can't handle that the same way. And it affects y'all more. We actually entering into your vessel, like, you know, get what I'm saying? Like, and you letting multiple men do that. That energy being transferred, like, that seed that stays inside of you for life. For what I heard, that stays inside of you for life. You know, so you carrying men DNA for life, men to men. Next, is staying with you. All that energy, all that, the DNA, all of that's going through your body. Then it's going to your. If you have kids, it's gonna affect them as well. Like, they're gonna have these different men's personalities. Like, then he remind me of Tyrone. My son acting like Jacob right now. My son acting like Tyrese. Like, what? Yeah, because that's what's going on. Us, on the other hand, you know, we can deal with that. It's not as emotional as it is for y'all, you know. And lately, I've been trying to get away from that. Like, I don't want to lead anybody on. I don't want to, you know, because I understand the hurt, what it does, and I'm raising my girls, and I don't want to be that type of guy, you know. But I also want them to see what type of guys there is out there. Like, daddy was this at one point, and this is the type of stuff you want to avoid, because you don't want to be an easy target, you know. You don't want to fall for the words, fall in love with what you hear from a man. Like, you want to see action, you know. But I can't wait to get my kids the game, bro. I can't wait. Like, I'm gonna give them so much game, like, and hopefully it works. You know, hopefully it works and they get married and have husbands and families and all that. That's what I want for them the most, you know. So we'll see how that work out. But and my youngest daughter, she said when she grow up she want to be a mom, and I want that for her. Like, you know, I want her to strive for family. You know, let the man take care. Let the man be busy. Let your man be busy. Let your man take care of things. You take care of them kids and you take care of him. Like, I want that for my kids.